In light of the Easter season having come and gone, we've taken the liberty to grab our Easter baskets and set out for a bright and fulfilling Easter egg hunt involving some of the channel's all-time favorite video game franchises. Easter eggs and pop culture references are no stranger to us, of course, having garnered a considerable majority of our view count from our Easter egg-based video content, but there are some games with hundreds, nay thousands of discoverable Easter eggs, cool cheats, pop culture references, and secrets galore. Another day, another list video, I know, but we wouldn't be a YouTube channel in 2017 if we didn't spend most of our time going through other list videos and picking out our favorites and then calling it research. Let's start with the game that likely attracted most of you to our channel for some outlandishly weird reason. Borderlands 2, as critically acclaimed as it was, seemed quite infatuated with the idea of pouring every single nerd culture reference they could possibly surface and pump it into the veins of the game. If you didn't get enough engagement from killing the NES antagonist Donkey Kong or dropping a gear into a giant lava crater, you can also fire a gun that yells at you a whole lot, or kill yourself. The stylish, cel-shaded comic booky art style was what drew in a considerable portion of its target audience in for a purchase, but the amount of references are insanely overwhelming. It doesn't sound that difficult working for Gearbox. All you have to do is subscribe to Game Informer magazine to get up to speed on what's relevant, and then just go ham fucking sandwich dropping things into the game. You might find the time to notice a few, provided you look up from your inventory every once in a while and stop checking your guns against each other to make sure you can kill things 0.03 seconds faster. Overwatch is a game I've turned the other cheek to for a myriad of apparent reasons, but the two bullet points that top everything else on my list is 1, simply because the exclusive online multiplayer niche of gaming has never really been my thing, maybe I'm just too old, and the second reason being the majority of people who play competitive are massive cocksuckers. But the game has no problem pulling a Dark Soulsy maneuver where the bread and butter of the story takes the backseat to fiercely competitive gameplay and swearing 10-year-old edgelords. Overwatch's level design harbors plenty of Easter eggs and references to other video games, like Dark Souls, speaking of, and other movies, news, current events, and basically a laundry list of whatever you could scoop up from the Huffington Post's new round of smut. Another good positive Easter eggs are hidden in the unlockable gear, but you'd be hard-pressed to waste time collecting them all without some extra cash, because every 10 rounds or so, the loot box you're given will usually just reimburse you with a couple sprays and a blue dress for some bitch you don't even play as. I struggled a little, teetering back and forth over the option to include this game because I was torn between having to admit the game was completely original by calling every rip-off copy-pasted game mechanic and design a reference, and simply doing what I do best on YouTube, which is to take a massive sulfuric shit all over the game and tell it to piss off. These Easter eggs contained in Duke Nukem Forever are plentiful, albeit covered up and facaded by horseshit level design and disorganized haphazard storytelling, blatant sexism, and overall shittiness. But unfortunately, we can't pretend to be Yahtzee from Zero Punctuation, so we're just going to have to stick to the first option. That armored space explorer with a series of blue lights running across his mask like Isaac Clarke, yeah, that's it, fuck it, that's a Dead Space reference. Just go ahead and call that a Dead Space reference. The dude practically communicates in facetious pop culture references, and you can almost smell the inspiration from all the shooter games that's ever been released in the last 13 or 14 years since it came out. Rockstar seems noticeably obsessed with ghost stories, urban legends, and hauntings rather than referencing whatever they pulled from the front page of IGN. In Grand Theft Auto, you'll find plenty of instances where the supernatural becomes the natural, finding self-driving cars and solving murder mysteries only to find a brooding brunette staring at you from 2 mountains over and then promptly disappearing into thin air when you get closer. It's games like these that I really do think Easter eggs, it's games like these that I think really do Easter eggs and references the best, because it may not always be apparent as to what they're referencing right away. Part of the fun is having to dig out the details of the crime scene and put the pieces together in a way that would bear its equivalence to an IRL murder that happened years ago, like the Black Dahlia murder case, which is actually a reference in the game. It makes the hunt for Easter eggs much more compelling when research and curiosity is involved rather than just, fuck it, it's Grand Theft Auto. Find a disabled elderly man, shoot him in the face, and ride his wheelchair down the I-75. Who gives a shit? Having never played the game for more than an hour after having a brain aneurysm from trying to figure out how the inventory systems worked, Battleborn was one of those games where the developers decided they were done putting good games up on the market for a while and began sucking their own dick. Battleborn has plenty of references, but a sizable chunk of them are cheeky references to Borderlands or other Gearbox creations. Aside from that, there are occasional nods to other other video games like Halo, and even cartoons like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I really wish I had more to talk about, but Battleborn as a video game I found to be about as bland as a cardboard box. It's a bit of a shame that a large portion of the audience got siphoned into Blizzard's mighty vacuum of microtransactions and story writing incompetence when Overwatch came out last summer, but the more I reflect on my time with Battleborn, the more I feel as though that may have been for the best. Breath of the Wild had a selection of nice callbacks and nostalgia trips that will take you 30+ years backpedaling down the legend of what used to be Zelda, referencing the late Satoru Iwata as well as a few dialogue lines from the original Legend of Zelda, such as, "It's dangerous to go alone," and a select few of these references are quite challenging to unearth, and even more fulfilling when you finally make the connection to what they're about. Turns out, when you get past the exploration allure of the game, it quickly begins turning around and starts to sniff its own ass. Oh, har har, Nintendo. Always like you to be stuck in the past. I imagine walking into Sony and Microsoft business conferences and respectively conversing with intelligent, majestic, bearding marketing strategists, and then finding my way over to the Nintendo corridor and seeing an old fart flying a toy plane around his hands making noises. Mixed opinions have bombarded this game since launch, and people felt like they were shortchanged after the complete edition was released, giving new players a discounted price right out of the gate. So people can crucify me if they want, but I actually kinda like Destiny and how reminiscent of Borderlands it felt. But then again, the other side effect of the game is that it just made me want to play Borderlands more. As opposed to hiding its Easter eggs in plain sight and shoving them in your face Duke Nukem Forever style, a lot of the references are hidden in the description of weapons and abilities. The Praise the Sun ability, usually exclusive for solar weapons, is a blatant nod to the Dark Souls franchise. Seems like plenty of games are getting their rocks off trying to bend over and take it from FromSoft, but that's, you know, none of my business. A horde of these Easter eggs being references to other medieval-themed movies and legends like King Arthur's Excalibur sword and The Lord of the Rings. Skyrim is the all-time long-standing example of an adventure game where for every 5 minutes you spend adventuring, you have to spend 20 more minutes trying to find stores around Solitude to buy all your shit. A few other references come to mind, like the Notched Pickaxe, which is a Minecraft reference, cause, you know, Notch, and the Leap of Faith reference from Assassin's Creed that could have been only more conspicuous if fucking Ezio Auditore himself high-fived you on the way down. YouTube, I feel as though someone has driven a wedge between us. I remember when we could upload the edgiest, most offensive video on the internet and still get away with a couple dislikes and some cock in the comments telling us not to swear. I can't help but feel things have been a little changed. Lately, it seems as though all you have to do to get DMCA'd is use footage you didn't capture yourself, and suddenly you've got a whole armada up your ass. Cleaning up YouTube is overrated. Let's dirty it back up. If you told someone to fuck off today, congratulations. Now subscribe to our channel, or we'll kick your ass.